Hello, and welcome to another Photoshop tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at the basics of Photoshop CS6, then in future tutorials move on to bigger and better things. I feel like I've said that somewhere before. It's probably my imagination. First things first, we have the Navigator over here. Not much to it other than letting you get a full view of what you're working on in a tiny space. So that's helpful, maybe? It also tells you how close you're zoomed in and lets you control the zoom with the slider, but using the hotkeys are much faster and easier, which you can also see on the screen here. Next up is the Lair menu, and this is where the true magic of digital painting or editing takes place. We won't be going over all the ins and outs in this tutorial, and the next one will really be peeling back the layers, but first we need to open a new document to get a look at what all the buttons do. Go up to File, New, and you'll see it brings up the window here with a few options. You have your size here, which I have set to pixels. It's easier for me to visualize how big that is, but if you prefer you can use inches or centimeters. Then you have your resolution. The easiest way to visualize this is to think of a printer. If you have it set to 72, the printer is going to put 72 dots per inch, which is about draft quality. For nicer things, 300 or higher is the way to go. Then background content simply lets you choose if you want it to start transparent or solid. We'll go ahead and click OK. First up is the blending options, which again we'll take a deeper look at in the next tutorial. But these simply change how layers interact with the layer underneath them and blends the pixels together in some fashion. Over here is opacity, which affects how visible everything on a layer is, including layer styles, which are basically special effects applied to what's there. Fill, which is like opacity, but it leaves layer styles visible. Then at the bottom here are a few new things, but the most important thing to note for now are the new layer icon and the trash can. If I click on the new layer icon, you can see that I've added a new layer, and if I want to rearrange them, I can simply drag them around. The main thing to remember with layers is they always sit on top of each other and cover up what's underneath or blend with them depending. Sliding to the left are various option menus, but the main ones we're going to worry about are the History panel, which gives you a brief review of colonizing the American West. Wait a moment. Or it shows you a list of all the actions you've done and can go back to, up to a point. You can also use Ctrl-Z, Alt-Ctrl-Z, or Shift-Ctrl-Z to cycle forward and back. You can also go back to the state when the document was opened. Just be warned, however, if you do go back and perform an action, you won't be able to go forward again. These two down here are your paragraph and font boxes for whenever you're working with type, but we're going to go deeper into those in a future tutorial. On the left are your main tools, which there are quite a lot of, and hotkeys will definitely be your best friend. So if you want to speed up your workflow, learning them can really help you do that. I have them up on the screen, so feel free to pause, take a screenshot, and make a sandwich. One last thing to note is if you see this small arrow right here, it means there's more tools underneath. Clicking and holding them on will bring up a few more, as you can see. Last but not least is the tool action bar, which changes based on which tool you're currently using, offering some new options for each. If I say switch to my brush tool, you'll see that there are some options from the layers menu, but instead of applying to the layer, they just apply to that brush. And that'll do it for this tutorial. Stay tuned for more to come, and thanks for watching.